Hey, I'm Chris Carlisle, and you're listening to the podcast Highways and Byways for February 8th, 2024. This week it's a look at some of the things you can do in Abilene, a ghost town near San Antonio, newspaper headlines from the past year, and the best pro wrestlers from Texas. But first, here's this week's news brief. An accreditation was given to the Temple Public Works Department back in December. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department gave Harker Heights $750,000 to renovate Kern Park. The city of Killeen recognized a local pastor and his church for community service. The Bell County Salvation Army awarded $357,887 in federal grants. Belton High School is collecting tuxedos and dresses for students to go to the prom. Country singer Toby Keith passed away Monday at the age of 62 after a long cancer battle. He had hit songs like Should Have Been a Cowboy, How Do You Like Me Now, Beer for My Horses, a duet with Willie Nelson, Who's That Man, and Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, recorded after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. From the Houston Chronicle X page, the Woodlands Waterway Arts Festival was announced to more than 180 artists and musicians for 2024. The Salvation Army is helping veterans pay bills. Students in Waco are improving reading skills with the Stars Book Club. In sports, the UIL had its district realignment for the next 2 school years. There's where some Texas college basketball teams are ranked in the AP and coaches polls. Houston is number 5 in both polls, Baylor number 13 in both polls, Texas Tech number 23 in both polls. In the women, Texas is number 7 in the AP and number 8 in the coaches, and Baylor is number 16 in the women's and number 17 in the coaches. Astros signed second baseman Jose Altuve to a contract extension. All right, next, attractions in Abilene. Okay, now attractions in Abilene from TripAdvisor. Frontier Texas, a Western Heritage Center that lets visitors relive the Old West through state-of-the-art technology. The Abilene Zoo, the National Center for Children's Illustrated Literature, the 12th Armored Division Memorial Museum that has exhibits about the 12th Armored Division, the Texas State Veterans Cemetery at Abilene, the Grace Museum, which is a hub of art and culture, Dyess Air Force Base Memorial Museum and Linear Park. Okay, next, a Texas ghost town. Now a Texas ghost town. Tough, Texas is a ghost town in Bandera County in the Texas Hill Country. It's a part of the San Antonio area. It used to be called Crockett. It had a post office that opened in 1901 and closed in 1926. After that, the mail was sent from the post office in Medina. In 1914, there were 50 people living there, and it had a general store. But by 1926, there were only 10 people living there. It wasn't on any county maps in the 1940s, but there were log cabins that were renovated in the 1990s. It became a ghost town in 2000. Okay, next, newspaper headlines from the past year. There are some newspaper headlines from the past year, 1957. First, from the Albany News, February 7th. It had an article about the receiving 5.75 inches of rain, the March of Dimes dance netting $301,000, a football banquet that was coming up, and the re-election of officers and directors for the Chamber of Commerce. Also, 33 inches trees in a calf show received $1,105. From the Bandera Bulletin, February 8th, 1957, Bandera youths placed well at the Uvalde show. From the Baytown Sun, February 9th, 1957, Baytown ministers said that scouts make it a better world. From the Breckenridge American, February 10th, 1957, there was a community breakfast which was expected to draw a large crowd. The Boy Scouts work was ascribed to Lions members. From the Baytown Sun, February 12th, 1957, there was a $355,296 bid on a college edition. 8 teachers were hired while 5 resigned. From the Baytown Sun, February 13th, 1957, medics conferred at a conference that night and there was a go-ahead on the Salk polio vaccines. Next, the best pro wrestlers from Texas. Now here's who KLAQ Radio in El Paso says are some of the best pro wrestlers from Texas. They are The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Chavo Guerrero, his brother Eddie, his son Chavo Guerrero Jr., Dusty Rhodes, Tom Pritchard, Jake the Snake Roberts, Tito Santana, Mark Henry, John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL, Dustin Rhodes, better known as Goldust, Paul London, Wendy Richter, Jacqueline Moore, and Raquel Rodriguez. And here are the best wrestlers from Texas from MySanAntonio.com. They are The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, who grew up in San Antonio, Gary Von Erich, Dusty Rhodes, Terry Funk, Eddie Guerrero, Mark Henry, Tito Santana, and Tully Blanchard. And I'll wrap things up after this. Alright, before I go, here is something I found on Facebook. It's from the Ultimate 80s page. It's a picture of VHS tape and says, in the 80s, this was our Netflix. Well, thanks for checking out the podcast. I'm Chris Carlisle, wrote, produced, and hosted this podcast. Be sure to hit the download button and leave a like. Now, next week, it's a look at the Astros and Rangers seasons as they'll be heading to spring training. Until next time, I'll see you then.